welcome to the Wayfaring Panda. I'm Annette. Today I'm attempting to make a stencil for the first time with my Scan and Cut. And I haven't had it very long, so I'm kind of a newbie. So first of all, I pulled up my Scan and Cut software that's on my computer, and I pulled up this file that I bought on Etsy, and she had several different ones that went with this. One was the SVG file, which is what I need for my brother's Scan and Cut. If you have an earlier version of Scan and Cut, you may have to transfer the SVG to the brother's Scan and Cut type file, which I think is FCM. So I pulled it up here, and what I did is right-click it and group. So that way when you resize it or move it around, it'll move everything around, because the turquoise and the kind of purple color here are two different cutting files. So if you move them without grouping, you'll just move one or the other. So I'm going to make it kind of a 12 by 12 size, because I'm going to use this as a scrapbook layout, and I do 12 by 12 layouts. So I'm just getting that in the middle. You could put the lettering that I'm going to put in the middle of the box, but that would be too small for my picture, so I'm just going to make it smaller, and then I'll put the words on top. Also, this comes with the Png file and some others that you could print out. I forgot what the other one is. Not a GIF, but whatever the other one is for printing. And you could print this out if you're a card maker and use the knit letters that I'm going to show you to put inside the card. However, I don't usually print out cards unless it's to color, so I wouldn't probably use this for printing cards. But I might use the letters. All the letters in this are all image files. So since they're image files, you have to bring in the file for each individual letter. So I'm going to bring all the letters in except for ones that are duplicate, because this program does allow you to duplicate. So once I resize the letters how I want them, then I'll duplicate the letters like the E and the A and the R. So I'm going to do the word sweater weather. And I'll speed this up so that you don't have to watch each one. And I'll quit here because I think you get the idea. Here I'm just showing you another letter I'm putting in because I discovered that since I'm working at the top, every time I resize them, they kind of covered the first letter, the S, and it was hard to separate them. So if I drag the letter from the right top corner down, then it does like I'm doing here with the W, and then it didn't get over the S. So that's just a tip. I do apologize. It looks like the recording did not pick up the cursor, so you can't always tell where the cursor's at on this program. So what I did is I just highlighted the S, and then I went over to the edit area. And then if you go under height, I just typed in the height. That way I could put in a specific height. And I do that for all the letters. And then I just show the first couple because I do the same for all of them. And then after they're all resized, I just clicked on the letters that were duplicate and clicked duplicate, and then moved them where I needed them to be. Now once I got all the letters, then I'm just highlighting the whole area, and then I can resize and move it around. So first of all, what I want to do is make sure all of my letters are lined up together. So I went down here where it has a line, and I just click Align Bottom, and then they'll make them all lined up together. And then I did try Align Center. I thought maybe it would center it on the page, but it just centered all the letters together, which doesn't help. So then, of course, I undid that. Then I just played around with the group of the letters and the image below to get them how I want them on my stencil. So you want to make sure when you're moving the images around that you have it grouped so it moves the whole thing. Otherwise you'll just move one part of an image. So I found you can move it like you normally do in Word, or you can go over to the side where it has X and Y axis, and then you can change the numbers there to move it up or down or back and forth on whichever way you want to do it. So I did that for both of the images until I got it how I liked it. So then I just save it to my computer by clicking File, and I'm choosing my USB flash drive and putting in the name of the file I want to call it. So I always save these to my flash drive so I have more room on my computer. You can send them into your cutting machine, but you probably don't want to save everything into your machine or it will be full. So now I'm just going to choose File and then Export as an FCM, and then I choose the machine. However, I'm getting an error message that says there's too many cut lines. Now I could have made two different stencils and separated the word from the image and made two different files for my stencil, but I decided I'd just do the outline of the word. So since I was going to do that, it's easier to put in text. So I just clicked on text, choose what font I want, and type the words, which is a lot easier than working with image files. And then you do the same thing here. You just highlight and group, and then you can resize and move it around just like I did before until I get it how I want. Then I just save it as before and overwrote the old file, and then I had success sending it to my machine. I got this stencil material at Hobby Lobby. It's called Show Offs, and it's 12 by 18, so I can get 3 big stencils like the one I'm doing now and have enough to make 6 small stencils for if I want to use it for cards. And I looked at reviews online, and some of the name brand ones I found on other stores, people didn't have good reviews. This one had good reviews for people using a Cricut. So I figured it'd work for a scan and cut, so I thought I'd give it a try. If you have type of stencil materials that work, I'd like to hear, and we can try out different ones. I do not like to shop at Amazon, though, or Walmart. So if you get your stencil material from other places, let me know about it. So I'm just using my rotary cutter and my mat to cut it out, which makes it very simple. I'm going to my scan and cut and clicking retrieve data, and I'm going for the picture that has the little symbol that shows it's coming from the internet. Now it is taking a while for it to retrieve, and I guess it's because it's a bigger file. Now I apologize for the lighting and the filming of this. I have to use my scan and cut on a long table. It will not fit under where I usually do my photography because it needs a longer space in back and in front, so I have to put it at a different angle. So now I'm just trying to save it to my machine, but it's too big, so I decided to just cancel that because really I have it saved on my computer, so I can send it to my machine at a later date if I want to do it again.
Okay.
So then I'm just pushing OK because the pattern's fine since I lined it up for my 12 by 12.
Okay.
I'm telling it it's a cut pattern. Then I'm going into my settings to change the pressure.
Okay, so these are the settings, which I might have to. It says half cut is on, because I had used that before. That's it, cut pressure. Have this on regular, so to know it's regular, I'm just.
When it's back to the black box around it, then it's what the original setting was.
Cut speed. I might need it slow to cut pressure manual blade. And it's going to.
I'm just going through all the settings because I don't know what I changed previously, and also I left it on very low speed. The 1 is the slowest speed because as it's cutting plastic, it may tear if it goes fast. So I thought it better safe to leave it on 1. Next, I load my mat, and I already have my stencil material on it. You have to have the arrow up and then hold it in as you push the middle button, which looks like a mat, and that just loads your mat into your machine. And then I'm going to push the test button, and that's just to cut out a really small triangle out of part of your material so you can see if it's cutting too deep or not deep enough. So you want it to go through the material but not into your mat. So I'm just moving the triangle to where my stencil won't be. Over the material, but not where the cutout pattern is, so over in the corner. It's a really good idea to do this when you're using material you haven't used before.
It actually has the plastic that comes off.
And this is where I discovered that the stencil has a plastic coating over it, which is kind of like saran wrap. I kind of thought maybe it did because I saw a little bit of like bubbling at the top, but I couldn't get it off, so I wasn't sure. But I guess when it went through the machine, it started to come apart at the top. I heard a sound, and then also I seen a little bit when I pulled the triangle off. So now I'm just pulling it off, and then actually I turned my camera off because it took me a little bit to get it off. But just so you know, if you buy this, you have to pull the plastic saran type paper off. Then I'm just going to test it again. I figured after I took that film off, it would probably cut differently. So I just keep testing it by moving the triangle so that it cuts in a little bit different place. Now I did make a mistake a few times. This time was fine, but sometimes I forgot to move the triangle, so then all I have to do is hit pause, because it measures first before it goes to cut. So you have time to hit pause and cancel, and then I move the triangle so it doesn't cut in the same place.
Actually, let's see if you can zoom in on this spot. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. You can see the triangle I cut before. Let's see. Oh, it did cut it out, and it made a mark. So I'm gonna test lower. Okay, so test again, but I'm gonna try to, the cut speed is still gonna be 1. Cut pressure, I'm going to decrease that.
So after some trial and error, you see I've cut out the triangle several times, I decided that the -3 pressure was the best. So I know I don't want, it does leave a mark, but I restuck this mat and I put 2 layers of glue, so it's really sticky, which is really what this regular mat is. It's extremely sticky. So the first time I used it, my paper stuck to it. So if you're a card maker, I would recommend the low-tech mat and use that for your most of your paper.
Oh, I said start, and now it says 125 minutes.
Here we are back after the 125 minutes. Now you could have put it on a higher speed, but since it has a lot of small cuts on it, I wanted to make sure it cut right. And also with plastic, the blade may have gotten stuck on it. So now I'm just pushing the middle button that you use for load, and then it just unloads. And when I take this off, you'll see how the little pieces stuck to the mat because it's so sticky.
Well, looks like it got. Like it worked. I don't know if you'll be able to tell this. I think I'll take a picture. And then there's all this little plastic that I'll have to get off this way.
Here's a picture of the stencil. I put some paper behind it so you can see it better. Sorry about the glare. I'll be using this stencil in a YouTube hop next week in a scrapbook layout, and I'll link that at the end of this video when it becomes available. Otherwise, I'll have some other videos for you to watch for more inspiration. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. And if you're not already a subscriber, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe to my channel. Thank you.